Hi, it's Hazel, and welcome to my channel, Hazel and Naka Design. Now, this is an episode of, well, our first episode of Follow Up Friday in 2025. Now, of course, this work began towards the end of December, but I did want to show you how things turned out. So this was the project that I was doing, and it started a couple of years ago, and it's the one that's on a piece of Masonite. So I talked about that in the video in which I was doing this. I had a number of blanks to fill in, and I didn't want to do it with you because, of course, you can see everything is measured and not overlapping and so on. Excuse me. So what I did was use the pieces that I had pre-selected. Now I still have tiny white spaces. And to be honest, the jury is still out on this one. And unfortunately, there's really no way of knowing how something might look without actually well, I suppose I could photocopy it. Try out my idea on the photocopy, and if I like it, then do it on the real thing. Because I was wondering how things would look if I added some mark making. Now, there are a fair number of spaces that are, basically just flat color. There are also these minuscule little stripes, slivers of white showing. So I don't know. I guess I could get most of this on my printer bed and see what, I think I just talked myself into doing that. Because honestly, if I make one mark on here and don't like it, I'm compelled to continue. Well, I guess, or cover it up. So yeah, so you'll probably be seeing this again. Anyway, that was that. Okay, now, damn near killed me, but I did get my box of words sorted. So you know that I showed you these vinyl wallpaper pouches that I had made. They were all too long to fit the photo box this way, so I cut them all down. What's going on here? Oh, so it would have been like that. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I got that size and this size. So I haven't done anything with the small guys, and I'm almost out of, I only have 2 left of the other size. And I was using these Recollections index cards dividers for to separate the categories. And in some cases where the pieces are big, I just shoved them in there. Where the pieces are, minuscule, I have used 1 or 2 pouches to accommodate them because I didn't want everything falling down to the bottom and working their way into the neighbor's yard. So for now, I'm keeping the box uncovered, and I did find a spot for it that's, very visible and easy to get to. So I think, and I've already, you'll see, I'm showing you some finished ephemera next. You'll see that I already used several of them because that's what I'm finding in this whole organizational thing. When you reacquaint yourself with what you already have, and you can get to it and you can see what you have, you're compelled to use it. So that's exactly what's happening here with these words. It is not a perfect system, as I was sorting, and again, I have been inconsistent in how I did the sorting because I did this over several days, several, months, years. But as I did the last little bit, because it was annoying me that it was just unfinished, as I did the last little bit, if I came across words that were specific to a project that I have a tray or a pouch already designated for, then I kept those out. So for instance, I came across a lot of sewing terminology, not terminal, but sewing related. So I, clipped them all together and I threw them in with the sewing stuff because, someday I'll get to the sewing stuff and then I'll be wondering, geez, I wonder where those words were. So that is the story there. Several of you have said that you are, some of you, I think it was Carol that said she uses like vellum little pockets in, I can't remember what it was, but a book or something. And of course, I tried that in the beginning too. But for me, it didn't work, not for long anyway, because eventually I had too many words and they were all covering each other up. And I find that the vellum pockets are not very, unless you sew them, they are not very, they don't hold very well. So, to each his own. I know Sandy was going to start sorting her words. So yeah, people are, each of us in our own way and in our own bright ideas are trying to figure out how best to make our craft rooms work more efficiently. But it's definitely a worthwhile exercise. I can't stress that enough. Anyway, let me show you my final items for follow-up Friday. Now, you may remember that I had some of these Victorian photo album frames. I did a video about that. And I said, rather than, just going kind of the expected route and picking something, say, with flowers or a butterfly or whatever, I showed you some of my people and I showed you birds. And I committed to getting some of these done. And I thought, well, okay, I could show you the photos that I selected, or I could show you essentially the completed project. So I took it a step further and, added quotes and labels and other little embellishments. Here I doubled over the lace. It was a little too wide. I didn't want to cut it in half. These were just those little teeny tiny books of kind of ephemera. Oh, and some of these, like these two, yeah, these are the only two. These are from the Foot and Mouth artists. So that paper looks almost like, canvas. And because they were from calendars, the back side of them has a calendar page. So this is clearly upside down, but it doesn't matter because a line is a line is a line. So and then I did a fussy cut that was running the risk of tearing at the really weak point of the stem. And then this one was so beautiful with the roses and these other flowers and quite a bit going on there. So I just added this digital, it was a blank one, and I stamped. I have this, I love this number stamp. It's all, wait, how many digits is that? 10 digits, man. So I'm happy with how these turned out. Again, they could, okay, what did I do here with this girl? Okay, this is also came out of a book. So this, when the time comes and I figure out where I intend to use them, that's when a person decides if, you know, is this a side tuck? Is this a pocket? You know, what exactly is going to happen to them. And at that point, you make a decision about whether you need to do anything more at the back. Okay, the one that the next batch, which were the bird ones, I almost think I love these more. Now, these two I think would have come out of the same book, and a variety of colors, and I kind of made out of necessity, I had to cut the pages or the frames down because there were those other itty bitty images. So what I did was I kind of just picked all my rolls of washi that I thought would have, you know, worked color-wise, and I kind of just layered the washi, and of course gluing every layer. And then because I was going through my words, I managed to find words for each of them as well. I love this one. Well, I love chickadees to begin, or no, that's not a chickadee. I love chickadees, but that's not one of them. I just love this. I love it so much, you cannot tell. I mean, you can't, you can't believe it. Now, I have, let me put these away so you can see this better. I had a couple of pages where I couldn't make a rectangular cut because of the way the page had been embellished with those other little images. So I thought, I'm not losing this. So I just angled off the corner. Now, I suppose I could have made but that would have been a goofy looking tag. If I would have mimicked this cut on this side, that could have worked, I guess. But I think this is fine, especially if I just use them as, you know, glue on two sides and use them as tuck spots. Then that seems to be expected almost. Again, 3 types of washi tape. I just love those penguins and how they're just at attention. And this washi tape couldn't have been a better match. Found that in my word book, found that number, found classic, and that's it. Now this is a playing card with a shiny gold border around it. And I used it in this one. I used 2 different types of washi tape. I found a word or a thing that said game birds, which of course they are. And there you have it. A really kind of I think a very cute little card. I also found, did this one. I thought that this washi tape, well, it's actually not washi tape. It was that paper roll. It's got another color, another design on the other side. I needed to cover up something on this side. So I thought, okay, in this case, I added the paper tape, which is a perfect match, to all 4 sides. And I kind of, you know, offset it a bit. And then I had this green term called enchanted, or this phrase called enchanted forest. So I love that as well. And then perhaps my favorite is this one. And look at the creative cutting I had to do here, because there was something here, there was something here, and I couldn't have kept the integrity of the ovals had I made straight cuts, so I cut them out. Now, of course, where did I put them? I know exactly where they are. The things that let me just get them. The things that I cut out, now I have a whole, because I did that whole album. Oh, well, let's finish talking about this first. Now, it's not that easy on my big cutter. Let me close that door. Whoopsie. on my big cutter, finding the exact point where those two things intersect is not that easy. So I wanted to create a bit of a focal point here, but I also had probably, can't really tell here, some overcuts to disguise as well. And who doesn't love owls? And I found the word owls. So I'll just put that aside. But look at the stack of stuff I ended up with. So another one of these. Two of these. Oh, here's another one of those. Of course, it's opposite. This is like an IQ test or something here. Unfortunately, she flunked. I did this one, which I think would lend itself nicely. We saw this last time. Now, I don't know how some of these got damaged. I hope I wasn't the one that did them. But anyway, so here, I ended up doing something a wee bit different. Now, this is not symmetrical, but maybe it could. How wide is this? Oh, it's far too wide. It would have to be angled in some way. But you can see sometimes in order to keep, and look how different the margins are, Sometimes I had to sacrifice a bit of a flower just to keep it within sort of acceptable widths. Nothing much to say about these. Some of these, turned out very nicely, and it'll be easy enough to do those. Now I also threw a lot of stuff out. Okay, that was part of the cover. You know that I had this on the back of some of them. Now, I pretty well left all of these intact. Some of them have images that are kind of neither here nor there, like that plunked in the middle of nowhere. So these are going to take a bit of effort to, to make this one has nothing. So that's even better in a sense. It's going to take a bit of effort to make something like this work, because typically I would never just plunk my focal point down anywhere at all. So it's a matter of making the design work. Some of these I turned into like corner tucks. Oh, I see that needs a little straightening. And then these were some of the, like that's kind of scary. Some of these could almost be ready to use as they are, or with very little added to them. That needs something, obviously. These are not the greatest thing, but you can be sure that I will make them work. So something like this probably ends up being a pocket. Where I could save the little border design, I did. Where I had to give it up, I did. But yeah, so going from a few little frames, I had 4 or 5 frames that needed images, to now I've got all this to deal with. But one album down. Thank you very much. So for now, I've just put it in one of my little Michael's, drawers. So I will be seeing them periodically. And again, one day we'll just kind of do a mass make, and maybe my next time will be just on these kinds of things. Side tucks, belly bands, shallow pockets, whatever. Anyway, guys, I think that is all I have to show you today. So, I probably said this before on a follow-up Friday video, that I'm going to keep doing this because it seems to be working for me. It's giving me an impetus to get stuff done. And so now that I've shown you this, this sort of would go with the, I would say, finished ephemera. Now, we know that nothing is truly ever finished, but so if at a particular project, a particular time, if something needs, you know, an eyelet and a dangle, then that's easy enough to do. Anyway, that's where I'm going to stop. I hope that that you are enjoying this series, and I hope that maybe you've been, you know, encouraged to rip up your Victorian photo album and turn it into some pretty easy, sophisticated looking ephemera. Because let's face it, you know, it is nice with the gilt edge and so on. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for being here. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe. Thumbs up and comments are always make my day. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Bye.